Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the newspaper review segment right here on TVC Breakfast. My name is Nelson Eta, and of course, two of my gentlemen. That's how it's going to be the whole of this week, yo.
Who told you I'm even gentle?
Good morning, Etoma and Ibrahim. I mean, you always fight with us that you're a gentleman, so let me tell Nigerians that exactly you are.
Okay.
Let's begin quickly with the Nation newspaper this morning, and there's a lot happening in the politics. Etoma and Ibrahim, this brouhaha we're seeing in Rivers State. I am waiting for peace to finally return so the people right there can enjoy themselves. Rivers logjam, no truce yet between Fubara and the lawmakers. But before we get on that, at the top of it, ONSA to arraign arrested IED manufacturers. This is on, security, and the government is having a hand on this very strongly. Tinubu's reforms attracted $17 billion investments in 2024. Senate, Natasha suspended for breaking rules misconduct. Shops, goods worth billions gone in Ibadan fire. And we see a picture story right there of the incident that took place 2 days ago at the Tadala Bridge. Again, I said, but for the quick intervention of the persons who are responsible to, nip in such incident, it would have been worse than this, Ibrahim and Etoma. But we see that two persons lost, their lives, and some properties have been lost as well. Our condolences to those families. But the issues of this tanker thing, how do we cut this wahala?
Well, it's not just the tankers. What bothers me is that it has to be a Tedola Bridge. It has to be around that area. 2-3 years gap for the past 10-15 years. We always have multiple deaths due to an accident around that same place.
It's a bit steep. If you're coming, I don't know name now, if you're coming down, from the slope to turn around into CMD Road, it's a bit steep. And so sometimes there are kinds of vehicles that shouldn't even try to go that route because it's hard for you to, take that curve.
But when stuff like that happens continuously in the same area, the same kind of multiple deaths, multiple destruction of vehicles and properties and so on, and it's a recurrent, come on. You want to ask yourself, what's going on in that spot?
So I guess where he's going, because before you came on board, we were talking about the Otedola, and he said something like, I hope this place is not, there's something.
It's not jinxed.
Maybe jinxed. and I said, okay, probably we need to go there for exorcism. Maybe there are some superpowers that are operating there
in that area,
doing their sacrifices and all of that. But we should always be very careful whenever we are negotiating bends. And even as you ask the tanker drivers, the buses, or I say buses, the tanker moving gas, explosive devices, inflammable inflammable materials and all of that, substances, we should be very, very careful, and then work on how do we ensure that there are no casualties here and there are no accidents, especially on Otedola Bridge.
Indeed. Well, we wait to see the final clearing up of the Otedola Bridge. As we make our way straight to this Nigeria newspaper, at the top of it we see federal government China move to clear trade restrictions and Rivers Assembly drama. Fubara playing to the gallery, says Wike. Rather, he says, I was denied access to assembly quarters, Governor. We were not aware of his sudden visit. Lawmakers. As Senate moves to end crude oil theft, hires expert to track vessels. Oh, this is quite interesting. Hiring of experts to do that job. Ogoni Igbo People's Assembly asked Rivers Governor to comply fully with Supreme Court judgment. And we see Tinubu Obasa lawmakers meet in Aso Villa over Lagos Assembly imbroglio. What is going on with our state assemblies? But let's do a little bit of an education here. What would have been the right procedure for a governor, Fubara, to go to the assembly? Because again, I've seen a few times the Senate President, Godswin Akpabio, reading a letter written to the Senate from the presidency, intimating them that the president wants to come to the House to present so year's budget. what was different about this, and what's the right way to do this, Ibrahim?
So if you want to compare that as to what happened in River State, according to the lawmakers, they said the letter was written for public consumption, not for them. It wasn't addressed to them, but signed by the SSG, and it wasn't given to them. So that would have been better. But if you want to compare it to that of the National Assembly, you know it is addressed to them, and then the Senate reading it to its members right on the floor. But the issue of River State is really an impasse that we don't know how to navigate the murky waters. We saw Minister Nyesom Wike in his media party yesterday saying that Fubara would be impeached if he doesn't do, or might be impeached if he doesn't do the right thing, and the right thing has to be done. Sacking is the local government chairman. He had done that, and then sacking his commissioners, etc., etc. We also saw Imogo Chinyere, letting out streams of invective yesterday on our channel, for instance, when he was doing his live and all of that. So somebody said he was just angry because. I don't want to say the word. I think you're going to read it. You're going to read that part.
Indeed. That's what the governor's always been saying. This is not about him, but the people of River State, and so.
Which is very key.
I'm saying to the governor, do all you can to make sure that you follow the rule of law, so that the people of River State can begin to enjoy the dividends of why you were elected. Let's make our way quickly to the Guardian newspaper this morning. And we see right here, fresh hurdle for Fubara's Assembly Wike party insists on impeachment. But there's a story on the Guardian, Etoma, that quite interests me. FCT sex workers lose fundamental rights to FG. When I checked this up, Etoma, they took a matter to the court, to insist that their rights must be honored, right? To be given the free hand to do their commercial activities without being harassed by security agents.
Wow.
And there was an event.
That's bold.
Exactly.
Yeah,
there was an event I was at some time ago, and I asked the question, and I didn't know that sex workers have a constitutional right or human rights as to do with commercial work. Not human rights now, not against that.
Listen, first things first, they are human beings.
No,
so whatever rights you enjoy, they are entitled to.
As a human being, yeah.
Yes, as a human being.
Of course.
Sex working is the oldest profession on earth, But
like you always say.
Yes, but do they have the right to go to court? And ask for stuff like that.
That's exactly the point.
I'm waiting
to
find out. I must tell you the truth. I'm waiting to find out.
I actually thought you were going somewhere. Maybe you want to make an advocacy.
No. I wouldn't make an advocacy for that.
Because I'm at sea at exactly what the sex workers really wanted. But the thing is, you just have to. I don't know, for sex workers, for me, of course, I will never subscribe to something like that. The fact that you have your own fundamental human rights, you don't have the right to do anything bad to your body. Well, your body is your choice, whatever it is, but there are some things that cannot fly on our soil, even though they exist, but we just have to look away.
Well, let's wait to see exactly what happens. Let's make our way quickly to the Tribune newspaper this morning. House of Reps strips Southwest Development Commission of 3% seaports and airport revenue. And survivors on Ondo midnight attack narrates ordeal. This is a little bit sad right there. We see ousted PDP National Secretary's aide locks NWC members out of Secretariat. Again, the PDP is in the eye of the storm for some internal debacle.
Yeah.
And traders count losses as fire raises over 70 shops at Aleshiloye Market. 3 shop owners hospitalized. Really sad about that. But I think that is where we'd leave it for the Tribune newspaper as we quickly make our way to the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. The conversation still on Fubara right there, but we see 6 simple ways to beat extreme heat. Turn on your ACs.
Oh boy.
That's for those who have ACs.
And your fans.
Yeah, yes.
Those who have ACs.
And electricity. If you do not have it, how do you work around that?
Imagine those in rural areas. And I was saying that yesterday, and somebody said, look, they are in a better position to to avoid the heat wave.
Of course.
Because they are around nature.
The water from the stream is cold. I've drunk it before. Oh, mine is refreshing. A clean stream, by the way.
Because I'm wondering. But the thing is, I think nature is very fantastic. When it's hot on the earth, whatever water you're drawing from the soil, it's usually cold.
Exactly.
And vice versa. That's the way it has always been. Nature is just amazing.
Reps to commence consideration of tax reform bills today. And again, Senate summons NSA service chiefs. Some insecurity matters going on. And at the bottom of the Daily Trust, World Kidney Day, we spend over 150,000 daily on dialysis. Patients are crying out right here. This is really sad. But what more can the government
that's
really
where
do?
I give kudos to Mr. President for subsidizing dialysis in all federal hospitals. To have kidney problems and you have to go through dialysis
Every day?
to me is one of it's not a situation I will wish my worst enemy.
Indeed, indeed. Let's make our way quickly to the News Direct this morning. And we see right here, Governor Makinde commiserates with traders over the loss of shops. Well, a sad one right there. 2025 budget presentation, no matter what they claim, I wouldn't abuse my power. That is quoting Governor of Rivers State, Fubara. That's a good one right there. Governor Namdi uncovers 4.8 billion Ramadan feeding scandal in Dutse orders probe. Ibrahim, what's going on here?
How are you asking me? I wasn't part of the implementers. but it begs the question, why is it that things that are meant for people are being usurped, are being taken, swallowed by the vultures in government?
You've
been giving them
the snakes and the monkeys.
Exactly. So the governor got there and then he saw the quality of food that was made
Served
for
to the people,
this fasting people, and it was just like, what exactly is this? So I feel that it's a systemic problem, not just a systemic problem, because some of these people will be fasting, and the reason they are fasting is to show that they are pious, to express the piety to God. And how pious would you be when you are consuming the rights of others and you're given something to work on and you're not doing it? So it means that you're not pious. So I do not know how people want to place it. And God said one thing.
The rules and the regulations of the fasting.
Or even of the religion. Because God said that He will not change the condition of the people except that they change what is in their own selves. So God has given us everything, but it's just the way we do things, that shows that, yes, we're just a very bad people.
Indeed, well, let's wait to hear the last of that. As we make our way quickly to the Punch newspaper this morning, I see here Lagos-Calabar Highway project wasteful, corrupt, quoting former President Obasa, says Tinubu ignored protest against 15 trillion naira coastal highway project. Falls 21 billion spent on VP residents. All right. And we see right here, Ondo killing survivors recount ordeals. Ayedatiwa pledges tight security. And PDP crisis, Wike comes kicks as Ikimi. Panel recommends Anyau's expulsion. I'm still waiting to know exactly what is going on with this Anyau matter. But I think that's where we'll let it off for the Punch as we make our way quickly to the Platform Times newspaper. And something very concerning I saw this morning, prison congestion deepens as governors shun execution orders, quoting the Nigerian Correctional Service. Why are governors, should I use the word shining or being afraid of saying, hey, get on there?
I don't think it's because they are afraid. Some of the reasons why governors wouldn't want to do that is the crime the person committed is not commensurate to what you are asking them to do. Take, for example, the gentleman that stole a chicken and was given a death sentence. If you were a governor, will you sign his death sentence? So those kind of issues abound from statistics we've had so far. They abound, and the governors are saying, no, I can't do this. There has to be a good reason for me to sign somebody's life away.
But then there's some of them really who have been convicted, for very weighty crimes.
Yes, they have.
Okay.
But a good number of them are for cases that are not commensurate with the punishment.
But he who has no sin let it be the first to cast the stone. I guess is one of the reasons. But you know, there's also international pressure against capital punishment. So I guess governors are also very careful, and this might also affect them internationally. So they're
very
just
quickly, right here, Peter Obi won't run for president on Labour Party ticket. Will join the APC, quoting Buala, who was on our show yesterday. Oh, well, let's wait to see exactly how that will happen.
Anything can happen. Never say never.
Oh, of course. In politics, man, one day is a long day. And quickly, as we make our way to the sporting life this morning, and my, again, I see my guy right here. Osimhen demands 15 million euro from Gala.
Tassara.
You know, there was one day, Ibrahim, I teased you, I said, we need to move over into sport. Can they afford this?
Oh, yes, they can. Football is big business everywhere in the world.
No, of course. I mean the team, the club side in question.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. What are you saying? Do you know how many spectators are always on the pitch to watch the football and how much they commit to ensuring that football, you know, all of the clubs come together to play, and then the money that goes into it is not chicken feed.
Well,
Nelson,
I'm waiting to take my share from Osimhen when he finally gets up. But gentlemen, thank you so much for doing this with me this morning.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
And that's how far we can go on the newspaper review segment. We will continue with the rest